Welcome back to another episode of the Truth Over Trends podcast. I'm Corwin Spatheros.
And I'm carternsamson, and we believe in a merit-based society. We believe in small government, socialism sucks, and Christian values. As always, we're going to plug our Instagrams down below, so go check those out.
All right, so at the time that we are recording this episode, tomorrow, August 4th, is our primary race here in the state of Kansas for the various level judges, senator, representative, governor, and we have a constitutional amendment on the ballot too.
Hey, see where this goes. Kansas has always been a red state from what I can remember. Let's just keep it red. Do you guys have anything like tricky going on? Maybe some Democrats sweeping in somewhere? Or how's that looking?
Well, right now the sitting governor is a Democrat.
Yeah.
She's term limited. So we're trying to flip the governor's seat. I think we have 8 candidates on the Republican side, and there's only 3 Democrat candidates. So on the Republican side, there's Ty Masterson. He's the president of the state Senate. He's endorsed by President Trump. He's the front runner along with Philip Sarnecki. He's a business guy. He's never ran for office. He's trying to pull a 2016 Trump. He's another really solid candidate. There's also Scott Schwab. He's the sitting Secretary of State. There's also Charlotte O'Hara. She was a school board or some county level. I don't know what her previous offices were. She's another candidate. There's also Rick Reinecker. Don't know anything about him. And then there's also Stacey Rogers. She's a character. She's funny. One of the most unserious candidates in the race. And then there's Vicky Schmidt, who's a rhino. She supports abortion. And another candidate that's not very serious, at least on the governor's level.
Yeah. So tell me some issues that are on the ballot in Kansas. I want to get familiarized with how Kansas is playing out. Like, what are some key issues that are on the ballot right now in that state?
The top issue that a lot of the candidates are talking about is property tax. We have the highest property tax rate out of any state. Our current property tax rate, let's look this up.
It's on our ballot too.
The rates themselves are not on the ballot, but that's like number one issue. We have one of the highest property tax rates, sitting around 1.21% of a house's market value. It's one of the highest, and it's like the biggest issue that all the candidates are talking about, trying to lower property taxes because of how high they are. So, yeah.
That's big. That's big in Kansas because obviously Kansas is a rural state. You got a lot of cornfields. I mean, very, you could say, plain area in Kansas. So there's a lot of property to be owned. You have all those farmers and ranchers. They want their property taxes low because, yes, a lot of states use the revenue that they get from property taxes to fund their schools. But when you own the property, you should not be getting taxed a lot. That's the problem. That's the problem going on in Ohio is Vivek is running on getting property taxes real low. And a lot of people ask him, well, sir, like, how are we going to fund our public schools? And Vivek talks about, we're going to cut your property taxes, but we're going to get it down to the standards of pre-pandemic levels where they were before the pandemic. Because we had fair property taxes. Taxes were fair before the pandemic. So that's what he wants to do is we're still going to get our education funded and we're going to defund the education that is actually failing our children and make it better. That's what you have to do. You got to take money away from stuff that's not working and actually put it towards stuff that is working. And that's what Vivek wants to do. Also cutting capital gains tax and cutting income tax. That's gonna burst the economy. I mean, Ohio doesn't have super high income taxes. I believe we have a flat marginal. No, it's not a marginal. It's a flat. Yeah, Ohio is a flat income tax rate of about 2.75% because you have states with no income tax. You have states that have a flat tax where it doesn't matter how much you make, everybody gets taxed the same. And then you have your marginal tax states. Obviously that goes with tax brackets just like the federal government, but also with the states. So like California, I believe, is one of them. The higher tax states are usually the marginal. But Vivek wants to get it to a point where we can actually have no income tax at all, but also generate revenue by creating a bunch of jobs for Ohioans and boosting the economy and actually get to a point where we can start competing with states like Tennessee, Texas, Florida, those states with low taxes, but a big, strong economy and a lot of jobs.
Yeah, and the Kansas state income tax rate's anywhere between 5.2 and 5.8%. I believe that there's also various tax brackets. Mostly it's like marrying, filing jointly, single head of household, married filing separately. Corporate tax rate is another one.
Yes.
I don't think it's like the federal model of tax brackets, kind of like how the higher tax states that you brought up were, but property tax is the more important value, and both parties, governor candidates are talking about it. There's only three Democrat candidates, funny, and they're all from the same area too, which is kind of because
Yeah.
it's the only area that's like super Democrat. It's Johnson County, and then up in the Northeast where Kansas City, Overland Park, and Lawrence are, because there's two state senators and the mayor of Overland Park. You got Cindy Holscher and Ethan Corson, both state senators. They're the main two front runners. And then there's also Kurt Skoog, who's the mayor of Overland Park. So all three Democrat candidates, they're from the same area in Johnson County. It's the most liberal part of the state. It's probably the only liberal part of the state, because
Yeah.
even here in Sedgwick County, where I'm at like a federal level, it's pretty red. But like for a governor, it's been like kind of like a swing state equivalent for governor. Whoever wins Sedgwick County is going to win the governor's race. And Laura Kelly, she won it in 22 and she won it in 2018. So whoever the Republican nominee for governor is going to have to try and flip that if we're going to take back the governor's mansion here this November.
How are the polls looking for the governor race in your state?
So
And
we'll take a
okay,
look at like Polymark and Kalshi.
remind me of who's running again. Who's
Polymark.
on the ticket? You got the Democrat and Republican. Who's running for each?
So Republicans, you've got Ty Masterson. He's endorsed by Trump. He's the Senate president, and he represents the Andover area, which is a suburb of Wichita here in Sedgwick County, as well as a part of Butler County. There's also Philip Sarnecki, a business guy. He's like 2016 Trump, has never ran for office. There's also the sitting Secretary of State who's running, Scott Schwab. Those are like the three major candidates that I've seen ads for, besides Vicky Schmidt, who's a rhino, as I said before. She's the only other candidate I have seen commercials for besides Masterson, Sarnecki, and Schwab. And then there's a bunch of other smaller candidates like Stacey Rogers, who I've only seen ads for on like Facebook. And I don't think I've ever seen a Rick Reinecker ad at all. So like those two, they're not very serious candidates. Like as well as like Charlotte O'Hara. I've never seen an ad for her anywhere. I've met like all the candidates. They're all nice people and meeting in person, but like in terms of policy, and I'm gonna be voting for Ty Masterson tomorrow. He's the most experienced candidate in the field. And that's not like that I don't disagree with the policy of most of the other candidates except for Vicky Schmidt, because she supports abortion. Because, like,
Yeah, no.
you look at Philip Sarnecki, he's not a bad candidate at all either. Our Turning Point president, he's supporting Philip Sarnecki. And honestly, in my opinion about Sarnecki, it's whether either him or Masterson, both great. Whichever one of them doesn't win tomorrow, because the nominee is going to be one of those two. It's either going to be Masterson, who has the endorsement of the President of the United States, or Sarnecki, who is campaigning like 2016 Trump as the outsider. It's going to be one of those two candidates. Whoever doesn't win that one, in my opinion, should run for Senate to primary Jerry Moran in 2028, because he hasn't been, his voting record is, unlike Roger Marshall, our other great senator that I've personally met, he's been great. Roger Marshall's been great. He's one of the senators that's trying to make sure that the recess doesn't happen unless they pass the SAVE Act. Meanwhile, Jerry Moran, he's just crickets on the SAVE Act. Whoever doesn't win between Masterson or Sarnecki should be try to primary Jerry Moran. And back earlier, the Kalshi odds for Democrat versus Republican on who the next governor will be, 77% odds that we flip this race. And let's go look at the poly market odds for who the actual nominee will be for Republicans in Kansas.
Yeah, you find that out, and then I have another follow-up question that involves some common issues going on in the country. State, sort of federals involved, data centers, AI investment, all that stuff.
Right now, it's pretty close. Masterson has a 33. Well, he's right now the front runner. Right now, it's not showing the other candidates for some reason here. Trying to find that, but it's all like Masterson by 25. Yeah, it's all Masterson is ahead. 33% chance he wins by 25 points or more. 17% chance he'll win by 20 to 25. 15 to 20 point margin, 11% in favor of Masterson. 10 to 15 odds of that being, it's pretty likely that Masterson will win tomorrow. As Starnicki, if he's to win, it'll be within like 5 points. That's what it looks like, and the odds that happening are around like 5%. So it's more than likely that Masterson is going to secure this nomination tomorrow. But I expect it to be much closer than the odds of it being 25 points. The only reason I think they're that high is because President Trump endorsed him, and Trump won this state by 16 points last November until now 2 years ago in 2024 on that. So what was your next follow-up question here about some of the Kansas?
Well, I was gonna finish up on that. Hopefully, whoever wins the race for the obviously Democrat, Republican, Democrats probably won't follow this as usual, but whoever wins the Republican candidacy and they become the governor, if the Republicans win this, hopefully they're America first, anti-immigrants, pro-law enforcement, low taxes, limited government. Just hopefully, America first. That's all you could ask for. But I wanted to ask you. Wanted to ask you, is there a big data center problem going on in Kansas? Is that on the ballot? Data centers? Is that debate up in the air?
Yeah, there's no amendment on data centers, but it's a pretty big issue. Most of the candidates are generally against them to some degree in terms of like the data centers need to pay for their own utilities. They all pretty much try to agree on that. There's different opinions. Some want to ban them. Some think they're good for the economy. There are some that have the belief of like popular sovereignty on this, is that if a county or something whether or not they want to have a data center, they should be able to vote on it versus it being a statewide decision on that. So that's another issue people brought up. I'm personally against data centers. There's one being built right next to my house, and I'm not a favor of it. The construction of it was a pain. They had for underground stuff, they had to tear up parts of the road, and it was impossible to go it was very difficult to go anywhere, and it was just inconveniencing all of us here on this road. So I don't like data centers at all because the construction of it was ruining everything over here where I live.
My personal opinion on data centers, I'm against them. There can be some exceptions, like the way they're being regulated right now, or the way the companies and the government are going about it. I'm against. Now, of course, you need your tech centers, you need your power grids. I mean, if there wasn't data centers or these tech buildings, we wouldn't be able to do the podcast, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of stuff. So data centers can be good if they're used properly. If you're not overbuilding, you're not flooding properties, you're not causing a huge spike in electric bills and water bills. As long as you're doing it in a safe environment with steady pace and you're not going fast, they could help, but also you don't want to overbuild. That's what I feel like a lot of these state and city governments are doing is the overbuild of data centers, which is making people not want to like them and they're voting no on these ballots. Like, yes, no on data centers. You have everybody voting no because the way they're going about it. Like, yeah, at some point you're going to need data centers, but you don't need to build 10 in one area. That's what a
Oh,
lot of city governments and state
that's
governments
true,
are doing.
and I agree with that. And it should be that the voters get to decide. That's like that would be so. I personally would vote no on a data center being built, but we should have that option of if there is an area that does want a data center and they vote for it, then we as in our different county jurisdictions should be able to vote on it ourselves on a ballot.
Yeah, and that's the problem is they're not giving the people the option. You know what it is? It's these big tech companies lobbying politicians. They're both parties are going to make money off it left and right. That's how they're going through with these data centers. They don't care what the people want. What the government wants to do is this is their strategy. You bring a data center into the city, generates more revenue for the government, more money into politicians' pockets because you have big corporations that want to just rip off the government and rip off the taxpayer. Now, obviously, yeah, we're both pro-capitalism, but we both agree with anti-monopoly laws. We obviously don't want our politicians making money off of big corporations and institutions. That then turns into woke capitalism, and we don't want that. That's not good for the people. We want what's good for the people,
Of
not for the
course.
government. Obviously, the high-tech billionaires who don't care about the people and only want to make money off the government and our politicians. So,
Yeah, that's back on like how the people should decide. We've got an amendment on this. Mostly it's about our state Supreme Court that we're deciding to reform. The ballot amendment is to reform the selection process to direct election. Because right now we're the only state in the country that where the state bar has majority control over the entire selection process, and it's led to one of the most liberal courts in the country in a bad way. Like they're making up rights and decision rulings that just have there was no precedent to. There, it's one of the most overturned. The Supreme Court of the United States has overturned the Kansas Supreme Court the most out of most of state Supreme Courts. We have justices that have failed Senate confirmation somewhere. We've had Supreme Court justices that have never had experience being a judge sitting on the bench.
I
And
vote all the time.
the most recent appointee like failed some sort of confirmation when they were going for an appeals court level. And here in this, we already elect our lower level district court judges here in the state of Kansas, so we should be allowed to also vote for our state Supreme Court justices. A lot. How do they select state Supreme Court justices in Ohio? Do you directly elect them?
We vote. The people vote.
Yep, that's how it is in my original home state of Nevada. We directly vote them as well, and we're trying to reform that here in the state of Kansas. And we used to until 1958, until a scandal, and the current selection process was a vote by the people based on it was a short-term solution of a need of a reaction based on pure emotion. For since the founding of the state, we directly elected them. There was no problem until one isolated incident when Governor of Kansas resigned so that he could go run for Supreme Court and have him be appointed by his lieutenant governor.
I gotcha.
Now, tomorrow we're going to vote on this. I'm voting yes because we should be able to select our Supreme Court justices. The way this whole selection committee, it's like 5 lawyers who are all elected by only lawyers, and then the other 4 in the selection committee are appointed by the governor, and basically they come together and make a list of names. So it's all done. It's an elitist lawyers boys club, and it's led to one of the most overturned courts in the country. And tomorrow we have a chance to change that and give power back to the people to directly elect our Supreme Court justices. Many states already directly elect their Supreme Court justices, and we're looking to return as one of those states. We already also elect our lower level court judges in the district courts. So why not also elect our Supreme Court justices.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I know this ticks you off too, and it ticks a lot of people off. The judicial branch of the U.S. government, at federal level, state level, it doesn't matter. The judicial branch in the court systems should be the most honest, unbiased branch of government that there is. That's why they're there. They're there to interpret the law, make fair decisions in criminal cases, civil cases, and in government cases. But nowadays, you see all these unelected judges making all these decisions, making all these rules. Well, they could pull these judges out of like, cronyism. Like you just bring on your friend, like, hey, you're a liberal judge. Come on, push our liberal agenda. No, we don't need that. And even on the Republican side, if like I don't care if you believe in conservative values, if you're not qualified to serve, as a judge and you're just some random person, I don't want you being there. I don't care what party you're a part of or what your values are. Like you need to have experience in the courts, like you said, whether that's becoming a lawyer, a defense attorney, like anything, being a part of a jury, a bailiff. Like there's so many different options in the judicial system. But nowadays we see all these leftist judges who have no experience at all, a lot of whom are hired from DEI quotas. A lot of them are appointed, like President Biden takes credit because he appointed the first black female to the Supreme Court. You shouldn't be happy about that. What you should be happy about is not caring about the color of their skin and actually their merit and the content of their character to actually serve that position well. So I don't care what color skin you are. I don't care your gender. If you can do the job, go do it. But we do not see that. We have too many unelected bureaucrats that run the government. And the people that the people vote for, the officials that the people vote for, ought to be the ones actually running the government, not unelected bureaucrats.
Of course. And like that's why we're pushing this amendment so hard, is to bring power back to the people.
Yeah. I wanted to I know we were talking about midterms. I did want to add this in here. Another cool little subject. I thought this would be kind of cool. We could do the Trump administration versus the Biden administration because I feel like this doesn't get talked about enough. And we can do the Trump's first term versus Biden's term, and then we can do Trump's term so far. So let me pull up some numbers. So we can just start off like with the economy. I feel like that's the most basic one. I have a thing of stats here. So we have a lot. So I'm gonna start reading these stats and then we can talk about them. So we're just gonna dive right in here. How about that? All right. According
That
to the
works for me.
according to the U.S. House Committee on Ways and Means, published on October 31st, so Halloween of 2024, prices increased 25%. So I'm sorry, 20.5% since the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration. That's a lot. We got inflation outpaced wages for 26 months under the Biden administration. These are all from the same source. I'll let you know when the source changes. Under the Biden administration, interest rates hit their highest level in 23 years. The monthly mortgage payment for a median price new home has increased $1,030 and is 91% higher than when President Biden and Vice President Harris took office in January of 21. These stats are just reported from 2024. So basically, like pretty much at the end of Biden's.
Yeah, during the election period.
Right. It was these stats were recorded like a week before the Harris-Trump election, the 2024 election. But you see the rise in prices, gas prices, energy prices. You see the rise in inflation. All of that has to do with, one, we print way too much money. The Federal Reserve and the Treasury are printing way too much money. Number two, waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. When you put more money into the economy, there's more money in circulation. Companies are going to raise prices because more money is available. But also, you get government kickbacks also play into that, because the government knows they're going to make more money when they raise taxes and raise prices. And also, shipping all this money overseas to Yemen, to Ukraine, to Israel, to Syria. I mean, there's a lot of money flowing into these terrorist groups in the Middle East. All of that plays into this inflation. That's why Biden has super high inflation. And we also brought up gas prices. The reason why gas prices went so high is because we became energy dependent, not energy independent, like we were under Trump. We started relying on Russia and Europe for our oil. We cut oil leases and gas leases in Enwar, Alaska, where we do a lot of our drilling. We cut down the Keystone Pipeline. I know we talked about that in a previous episode. So all that plays into effect when you have all these high prices.
Yeah,
and you had taxes go up too.
Because oil's the number one industry. Everything needs oil. So when the price of oil goes up, that's going to cause the price of everything else to go up because you need gas to transport things to stores. And, some things like physically need oil in them to work. So it makes it even more expensive to produce those things because the price of oil's gone up.
That's right.
And yeah, it was pretty bad. They never, we had basically inflation that was so bad that hadn't been seen since the Carter administration, which it was considered a recession in the 70s. And then the media never considered it a recession, even though by definition, we were in a recession in late 2021, early 2022 under Biden going into that. It was,
Yeah.
and the media never reported it as a recession despite it being at its worst. And of course, right now, relatively speaking, prior to COVID, everything's still higher than what it was before COVID. And it'll be a long time before we get that. We'll have different presidents long before we get back to pre-COVID numbers. But
Right.
right now, as it stands, things are coming down comparative to how they were under Biden. I've spent less on groceries the past 2 years under Trump than any time that I did under Biden here living on my own in Kansas.
Yeah, and you saw the report came out. Manufacturing has boomed. You have jobless claims just hit a 59-year low since 1969. Unemployment claims have hit its lowest level since 1969. That shows under the Trump economy, we're cutting taxes, which is creating jobs, which is putting more money into the pockets of the American people. That's how you boom the economy right there. And obviously, we're drilling. Gas prices are obviously high right now because of this war. But see, that's the problem is people. I would rather have, okay, if you had to give me like a one-on-one, would I rather have gas prices be high because of the war or gas prices be high because of energy policy? I'd rather gas prices be high because of a war, not energy policy. Because if it is under energy policy, then that shows the president of the United States has no plan for energy. A war, he can't really control the prices under a war. Like, no matter how good his energy strategy is, gas prices are always going to go up because obviously you got the Strait of Hormuz. But we have seen times where gas started to come down once we came to that peace plan with Iran. But obviously, we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon, and that's another thing. I know I'm going crazy about this, but that's another thing. Is a lot of people like to say that it's been proven that Iran is not trying to build a nuclear weapon. That claim is false because the Iranian government themselves have expressed building a nuclear weapon. They have mass amounts of nuclear sites. What are they going to do with that nuclear energy? Considering how evil they are, they're probably going to try to build something nuclear, whether that be a nuclear weapon, nuclear tanks, whatever it may be. But we know that they have nuclear potential and they have enriched uranium, and we got to get rid of that. So I believe gas prices are going to come down soon. They were low before the war started, and that shows Trump's energy policy is
Yeah.
fantastic.
And even still, even now, as the war got back on, even like when the peace deal was there momentarily, they were starting to slowly but surely go down. And even still, at least here in the state of Kansas, I can't speak for the other 49 states right now, we're still at lower gas prices right now compared to the start of the Iran war and the first wave before this momentary ceasefire.
Yeah. And again, gas prices are still lower than what they were under the Biden administration. Your regular gas, I'm not talking about your premium or diesel. Your regular gas prices, national average, hit $5.01 in 2022. We have not seen that. That is the highest recorded gas prices ever. Was under Joe Biden. The highest ever gas prices, regular gas prices ever recorded, was under President Joe Biden. That's a
Oh
fact.
yeah, and to get back on Iran, this is kind of like my thing, comparing it to other conflicts. It's like the thing is there needs to be a checklist if we do want to end this quickly. And this might be a hot take. I don't know. I think the checklist should be this to end the war with Iran to get gas prices down. You bomb their central bank, take away their ability to finance terrorists, as well as finance their military. You decimate their fleet in the Strait of Hormuz and by force. We just, we needed to come up with a better like this. And then that will pretty much end the war because their fleet will be decimated. They can't close the strait, and they don't have the ability to remilitarize financially as their central bank got destroyed. So that's the two things, look back. The Gulf War. This is kind of like the Gulf War in 91 under George H.W. Bush. There was a plan that was effective and quick. They had Desert Shield in late 90 and early 91 where United States, along with, I'll have to look up how many exact countries were in this coalition.
Yeah, this whole trading strikes thing isn't going to work because we've seen it before. We bomb an Iranian ship. We send an airstrike to an Iranian ship. They're gonna send it right back at us, and we're gonna bomb their territory. Then they're gonna send another one. It's just not gonna work. You either just blow them the hell up. I hate saying that because obviously there's a lot of innocent people, but a lot of innocent people are pro what Trump is doing because they're actively taking out the authoritarian regime in Iran.
Yeah, because the Gulf War, there was 42 countries in this coalition that got together and acknowledged Saddam Hussein was a problem because he went and invaded Kuwait and basically annexed the place. And so Desert Shield, all these countries mobilized and around it and prepared for a liberation plan, which led to the Desert Storm, which is the most successful Middle Eastern military operation in American history, where we went in, we forced the Iraqis out of Kuwait, made sure that Kuwait and their oil fields were good. We liberated Kuwait, and we left after that.
Right.
And then obviously things changed by the time 2003 rolled around, and we ended up back in Iraq. So in the long run, it didn't work out, but that specific conflict related with the Kuwaitis and the Iraqis, it worked because we had a plan of what the goal was, and the goal was to liberate Kuwait. So the goal here with Iran needs to be take out their ability to finance terrorists and reopen the Strait of Hormuz to stabilize international trade in the region. And
because Trump's going to sign a peace deal, and then it's going to last for a week, and then they're going to go back to trading strikes. Like they came out with a new report saying Trump was considering launching the biggest strike yet today, but he stopped it because there could be a peace deal coming. And obviously we want that, but we know they're not going to come to a peace deal. It'd be very rare if they did. But so we got foreign policy. So we got the Afghanistan withdrawal, which killed 13 American soldiers and left billions of dollars of military equipment behind for the Taliban. That was so stupid. The Taliban literally had a parade with our military equipment. You saw these Hamas soldiers with AK-47s rolling through tanks like it was nothing. Like that was the most embarrassing thing, ever happened to American.
That it still probably would have been a mess leaving Afghanistan under Trump, and it probably would have been a similar situation to how Gerald Ford handled Saigon, at least with the event. But it would have been. But under Trump, we had a more effective the civilian strategists and all that out first, and then leave the military. And there was a deal in place with the Taliban to where Trump was like, I want troops to leave Afghanistan, and if you attack any American troops or strategists, he just sent him a picture of his house, and it's like he's like, that's a picture of my house. It's a famous thing. It's like, what do you mean by sending a picture of my house? And it's like, you got to figure that out. Like, there was a deal in place with the Taliban under Trump, and Biden completely threw that out the window and stayed in. I think the Afghan pullout was delayed, or it was delayed further, extended past Trump's original pullout date of what he had planned. And It's actually really have you ever seen the parallels between how we left Afghanistan and how we left Vietnam?
I think, yeah, I
Like,
think so.
there's a very infamous photo of a Huey helicopter on the roof of the Saigon of our embassy in Saigon, and like similarly, you could see like there was just thousands of people trying to get on like an airplane on the Kabul airfield, and it was very similar.
Dude, that just reminds me. I remember when they captured and killed, what was Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi?
Oh yeah, that's the ISIS guy.
Yeah, I remember Trump was like, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. He died like a dog. He was crying. The dog went in and he got him. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was the Shane Gillis made a bit about that. That's one of my favorite.
I can't believe I just did a Trump impression on the podcast. That's crazy. That's gonna be funny.
Yeah,
But
it's one of my favorite Shane. Have you ever seen where Shane Gillis basically quoted that speech?
yes,
He's like it's like he comes out like it's an NBA press conference. He's like, yeah, like
yeah,
he has one of the best Trump impressions out there, Shane Gillis.
yeah. He's good. I really like him. Okay, it's pretty eventful. Yeah, we basically. You got anything else? Yeah, I mean, you got the border crisis. You just had 15, 20 million people come across the southern border, which, quite frankly, in some ways, increased taxes, increased Social Security costs, increased Medicare, Medicaid costs, and increased housing costs. And the Federal Reserve just recently did a study proving that the influx in immigration under the Biden administration caused a rapid spike in interest rates and housing prices.
Well, yeah, and another thing on I just lost my train of thought. It was something on immigration and I just remember. Yes, I just saw that the House passed a bill where if an immigrant commits welfare fraud, it's automatic deportation.
Oh, see ya.
And yeah, almost all Republicans voted yes on it, and there was but only seven. They abstained, which was
Yeah,
interesting.
see, yeah, that's hard because again, we don't want criminals coming across the country, but if you do go through the process, you technically do get granted citizenship, but I see what they're saying. Like, we
Well, this
shouldn't
is
let.
welfare
That's
fraud.
hard.
Fraud's already illegal. So
Right.
but like if like a foreign immigrant is coming in and commits welfare fraud, it's automatic deportation. I agree. Even some Democrats voted for that. I saw a picture of the vote. There were 20 Democrats who voted yes on this. I'm here. I'll have to look that up because I saw that while I was setting up for this, and I didn't get the chance to see who voted yes on that. That were the 20 Democrats who did vote yes on
Let me
that. So
guess.
maybe there is some hope in the Democrat Party. I don't know.
I
They're
can get
probably
one Democrat that voted for it. Ready for this?
who.
John Fetterman.
Oh well, this was the House, not the Senate. But I'm pretty
Oh, okay,
sure
okay.
when this bill goes over to the Senate, I'm pretty sure he'll be one of the few Democrats that does vote yes on this.
I bet. I
I
bet.
believe he was one of the Democrats that did vote to end the government shutdown last what was it,
Oh
November or
yeah.
March. He was the one of the few, as well as the two Democrat senators from Nevada, to Jackie Rosen and Catherine Cortez Masto, which yeah,
The
they're
dude
both
might
fairly
as well
moderate anyway.
yeah, the guy John Fetterman might as well just switch to the Republican Party. He is
He
already
he is on record saying that if Democrats continue to be anti-Israel, and I'm critical of some of our relationship with Israel. I disagree with a lot of the decisions made by the Israeli government, and I really don't think like an organization like APAC should be allowed to fund our elections. No group that represents foreign interests should be allowed to finance campaigns in the United States. Only American lobbying groups should be able to finance campaigns. No foreign lobbying at all should be able to put any finances into campaigns in America. So I think that like APAC, it should, if there is some sort of like foreign Israeli lobby, they can go through the legal way with FARA, and it's just like word of mouth policy lobbying, but no foreign group should be able to financially lobby in any American election.
Yeah, I agree. That's all I got. Are you good?
I think this was a pretty good episode today.
Oh yeah, that was really good. Got the hat on. 47 hat, got it from a Turning Point event. You already know
Yeah.
this is a sick hat.
Yeah, I've got my Ty Masterson event. I'll be casting my vote for on August 4th tomorrow. At the time we're recording this, it's still August 3rd. But yes, tomorrow, August 4th, here in the state of Kansas, vote yes on the amendment and vote for Ty Masterson for governor.
Yep, and I'll just plug Ohio. Vote for Vivek Ramaswamy for governor of Ohio. Amy Acton will shut down the country again, like she did during COVID, if she becomes governor. I don't think she's going to win. Vivek's going to win. Ohio's going to be great. Everything's going to be good. Kansas, Ohio's going to be great. Make Ohio great again. Make Kansas great again. We want to thank you guys for watching episode 3 of the Truth or Trends podcast. Again, we stand for a merit-based society, Christian values, and we believe socialism sucks. Peace out.
God bless America.
God bless America.